A recent Reuters article stated that US investors are pulling money out of their own stock market at the fastest pace in at least 16 years. In this video, I will break down details on why this is happening, where the money is flowing to, and what it could potentially mean for normal investors like you and I. I will also share some best practices for what to do right now. If we haven't met, hi and welcome. My name is Jumoke and I worked as an investment banker for close to 2 decades, managing wealth for the ultra-wealthy. On this channel, I share videos on personal finance and financial freedom with the hope of helping at least one person's finances in a meaningful way. Now let's start with the significant moves that we are seeing in the markets, and this trend actually started in mid-2025. Last year, the US stock market underperformed emerging market equities, and that trend appears primed to potentially continue in 2026. For many years, investors loved US stocks. Some people even called it the Buy America trade, but now some of those investors are starting to say goodbye America. Now, this does not mean that people dislike the US. It just means that some investors are currently moving money to other markets globally in the hunt for better returns. The Reuters article reported that US investors pulled about $75 billion out of US stocks or equity products in the last 6 months, and $52 billion of that outflow happened since the start of this year. This is the fastest pace of outflow in the first 2 months of the year in at least 16 years. So where exactly is all of that money going? The article cites that since the start of the year, $26 billion of that outflow has gone into emerging market equities or stocks. Emerging markets are essentially countries with economies that are still growing and changing fast. Some US investors are looking to emerging markets, Europe and Japan, with South Korea and Brazil being the largest 2 recipients of this outflow. South Korea alone received about $2.8 billion of inflows from US domiciled investors, and Brazil received about $1.2 billion. Now, over the last 12 months, the S&P 500, which is the flagship index in the US that tracks the performance of the 500 largest publicly traded companies in the US, rose about 14%. Over that same period, the Japanese Nikkei index rose 43% in dollar terms. Europe's Stock 600 rose 26% in dollar terms. China's CSI 300 index returned 23%. And get this, South Korea's Kospi index doubled. And naturally, when people see big gaps like that, they often ask a simple question: am I missing better returns elsewhere? So one major question is, why is this happening and why now? A major reason this is happening is, well, you guessed it, the AI boom is not feeling as easy as before. Investors are now worried about big spending on AI and about the risks if the story changes. They are looking again at the high prices of big AI-linked stocks like Nvidia, Meta, and Microsoft, and reviewing whether the rising prices of these companies are warranted or whether the so-called AI bubble is about to pop. Another reason is valuation, and valuation is a simple idea. It is the price you pay compared to what you get. A well-known and well-used valuation measure in the financial markets is something called forward PE ratio or forward price to earnings ratio. How it differs from a standard price to earnings ratio, which is also known as a trailing ratio, is that it uses earnings estimated for the future and not the last 12 months earnings like the traditional version or the trailing version does. Currently, the S&P 500 index is priced at about 21.8 times expected earnings, and this is noted as being above the 5-year average of 20 and the 10-year average of 18.8, indicating continued high valuations. On the other hand, Europe is trading at around 15, Japan is trading at around 17, and China is currently at around 13.5 times expected earnings. And investors are of course concerned about whether or not the astronomical valuations of these tech companies are sustainable. The third reason is the weakening dollar. Now, the dollar has started this year under pressure again and fallen against some major currencies, as you can see here. The green upward trending line indicates that other currencies are strengthening against the dollar. So foreigners are getting more dollars per 1 unit of their own currency. A weaker dollar can change investor maths very quickly. For example, if you own assets or are receiving income or dividends in other currencies, the value of your assets and dividends in dollars can rise when the dollar falls. And there is an incentive or an opportunity to increase your potential returns if the dollar keeps weakening. Because when you convert your returns in those currencies into dollars, you are getting more dollars per 1 unit of that currency. Another thing to note here is that the dollar weakening also provides a good opportunity for what we call currency hedging. These hedges often become cheaper when the dollar is weakening, particularly if that weakness is driven by anticipated Federal Reserve rate cuts, which may occur later in the year. Now let's talk about what this may potentially mean for regular investors. First, it helps to remind ourselves of one famous idea. Do not put all your eggs in one basket. Spreading your investments across different types of assets or investments means that you get the benefit of safety in numbers. And so you are less dependent on one area or one type of asset. When US investors buy foreign stocks, they are diversifying by geography. That can certainly reduce risks, but it can also add new types of risk. For example, currency risk. So basically, if there are swings or fluctuations in the currency, but also political risks. Now, here's what the article doesn't detail. It also helps to understand that fund flows are not the same as everyone sold. Flows measure net buying and selling in a period. Some investors can shift money abroad, whilst others remain in US stocks. For example, recent data shows that foreign private investors who account for approximately 80% or more of foreign holdings in US securities remained highly engaged in the US market. Their net purchases rose from an average of $1 trillion per year between 2022 and 2024 to $1.5 trillion in 2025, predominantly in equities, government treasuries, and corporate debt securities. And it's worth noting that the S&P 500 is still close to its all-time high, which it hit in January this year. And so the big question is, how should you approach investing at the moment? Well, the article ends by stating that this is a rotation phenomenon from tech or high-growth stocks into value stocks. And I think the key word here is rotation, meaning that the markets can and will likely turn in the future. And sometimes chasing higher returns and trying to time the market is where a lot of investors go wrong and ultimately lose money. So when you see these sensational headlines, it's important to dig deeper and arm yourself with more information. Figure out whether a rotation is the right strategy for you. And this will be based on your investment goals, your timelines, and your objectives. Some people seeing that headline may think, oh well, this means I shouldn't be investing in the US, or I should sell all of my US equities or ETFs and go into other regions. And this may be a completely wrong approach for that individual. So the bottom line here in terms of how to approach investing in the US or investing generally is to stay diversified. Do not try to time the markets because nobody can do that consistently and get it right. Keep increasing your knowledge in investing, keep your costs below your earnings, and stay consistent. I'll see you in the next one. Look after yourselves. Bye for now.